This episode of Latinos Out Loud is brought to you by McDonald's.
If you're a listener of our show, you know that all three of us are die-hard McDonald's fans.
And since our crew is going on 15 years of friendship and counting, several of our memories together happen to involve McDonald's. Shocking none of you were sure.
There's one particular memory that stands out.
I know what you're talking about, Frank.
Yeah.
So we were filming. I think it was one of a sketch that one of our comedy sketches that we usually film, and it was lunchtime, and we were like, no, we don't want to do like any other. We didn't want to do the same kind of stuff that we normally get, right? We wanted to and we were thinking like, yo, let's go to McDonald's, right? And it's like, I felt like a kid in the candy store, because I was just like, yo, let me get 100-piece chicken nuggets for the cast and crew.
Yeah.
And they were like,
they
were like, we don't do 100, but you can get like 420 pieces. So I had to do that.
I think it would be 520 pieces. Check your math, yo.
Oh, fine. Yo, I'm McDonald's math. I failed McDonald's math. All right. Damn.
Yo, your McNugget math is questionable. I don't know.
Anyways, and so we loaded it up. We got a bunch of fries, of course, because your Mickey D's, you gotta get fries. Frank wanted to stay and hang out in the McDonald's place.
Yeah, it was fun in there.
I was like, no, that's for kids, Frank. What are you doing?
Then he got stuck on the slide, and we were like, Frank, we gotta get back to set.
We got back in time, guys. We got back in time.
Rachel wanted to get like some Happy Meals for her kids. You know what I mean?
You're right, for my kids. Wink, wink. Not that I like playing with the toys or anything. And the apple slices are slamming, but
And we brought it back to the cast and crew, and they were just like, I don't know. They were just, their eyes lit up, their stomachs lit up.
They went
and they had a burst of energy, seeing everybody was just dunking nuggets in the sweet and sour sauce.
Oh, yeah.
People were throwing fries at each other. You know what I mean?
I like a good dip of barbecue and sweet and sour. It's like the BSNS dip, barbecue SNS sweet and sour. Try that, kids, at home or anywhere. Really, really good. I love making my own concoctions because, just to be honest, the McDonald's menu is endless. Combinations, things to try. There's always something new. Shout out to the Shamrock McFlurry that came and went in the month of March. It was delicious.
Have I seen you dumping?
Share.
Yes, I've seen you dumping fries in McFlurries, Rachel.
Wow. I don't dump. I just dip, Frank. Okay,
yeah,
I do
right.
a fried dip. Okay, I may just take a dip or two. But whether you're head over heels for their delicious fries or you can't start your Monday without an egg McMuffin, we all have our McDonald's go-to, don't we?
Oh yeah.
McDonald's. Everyone has an order. Go get yours today.
Ooh, ooh. It's the Latinos Out Loud podcast. So, Al, I know I'm in New York City, repping the Upper East Side right now, but don't get it twisted. I'm from Brooklyn, okay? And can I ask you, where are you? Is that a real bookshelf behind you, or is that some sort of filter or backdrop?
That'd be super cool. If I even knew how to use a filter, that would be amazing. I don't know what happens in life where technology just passes you by in an instant. Because I tried to get off Instagram. And then I went back on Instagram, and then I was like, when did they change it? I don't understand even. I'm supposed to, couldn't, I have to get my 16-year-old to help me out. And it's embarrassing, but it just happens. You hit a certain age and then it's gone. So if there was a filter that looked like this, then I wouldn't know how to use it. I promise. There's no way, but this is all real books. Yep.
Yeah, you never know because look, God bless. My mom is 70-something, Dominicana from New York, and she knows how to FaceTime. She knows how to me time, you time, Facebook, all of that, WhatsApp. I'm like, you're on WhatsApp, Mom? What's up with that? It's really, look, this is not about me. I just want to say thank you for giving us the time here at the Latinos Out Loud podcast. We're so proud of you. You're killing it. I mean, stand up, Morbius. There's so much to talk about. We've only got probably another 21 minutes or so. But let me tell you a little bit about the podcast. We move Latinos forward while making them laugh. We are two sketch comedians and a conspiracy theorist. So imagínate, I'm repping for the three co-hosts today. Rachel La Loca. I have a background in sketch comedy. I'm also a writer, producer. I'm out here on the grinding. And I just want to respect your trajectory. And I really want to just, give you your flores. I'm going to give you your flowers through the Zoom.
I appreciate it. Yeah.
Because I want to hear about Morbius. I want to hear about Agent Rodriguez. First of all, we love an Agent Rodriguez in a Sony Marvel film. Hello. Hola. Tell us about that.
I just put out something on Instagram yesterday with a picture of Adria, Daniel, the director, and myself on set. And we knew how special it was. And props to the people at Sony and the Morbius producers for making this happen, because, you don't see Latino superheroes to the point where I went and created my own comic book and superheroes, because we're just, this better than anybody. We are just severely underrepresented in all forms of media and in all departments. So you're not seeing the actors, you're not seeing the directors, you're not seeing the producers, you're not seeing the casting directors, and you're not seeing anybody at all levels. 18.7% of the population and only 7% of the actors and directors, and just across the board. So something needs to change. And it's just happening way too slow, because you look at this Annenberg study year after year, and it's just creeping slightly up, but just severely underrepresented. So we know how special this is. And so props to Sony for making this happen, because you have a director in Daniel Espinosa that did Safe House with Denzel Washington and Ryan Reynolds, which is a fantastic movie. And you have Adria that's just in everything. And then myself playing non-stereotypical characters, like she is a scientist working with Dr. Morbius. And I am this FBI agent partnered up with Simon Stroud, who played by Tyrese Gibson. So you have a diversity that's representative of what you see in the street, which is very important. And they're listening too. Like, I remember being on set. We're filming this in London, and they got extras. And for some of it trickled out. Just so happened that every single police officer extra was Caucasian, 100% of them. And I looked to and I go, guys, this is supposed to be set in New York City, and you just had 40 white cops show up.
A bunch of constables. This is too constable heavy. This isn't going to work.
And they totally were like, oh yeah, let's change that immediately. And so they get it, but you could see just how it happens, especially when you're filming in London. And so anyway, I feel like we're in a movie where they're attuned to that. And it's refreshing, and hopefully more of it starts happening and we can get those numbers up.
Well, congrats. It just really fills me with orgullo, pride to see the dream actually, coming to fruition. We all dream about representation. We all dream, look, as a girl who watched Sex in the City back in the day and really didn't see the streets of New York City in that show, I'm like, espérate, wait a minute. Where's my tia Clara carrying her laundry to the laundromat? Like, you know what I'm saying? So thank you for...
Yeah, totally. And again, the classic example is Friends. It's like they didn't have one.
También.
Yeah, right? It's like, you're in New York. And it's crazy. Like, so yeah, we'll hopefully get there. But yeah, you look up and even amongst Latinos, like, people don't recognize like how diverse, everybody wants to, and this is like every single bit that I did on the Daily Show. So I'm sort of regurgitating old material, but it's really, nothing has changed. Like, in terms of diversity amongst Latinos, they try to lump us all together, which that's a whole nother thing. We should be cooperating way more than we are. And you look at Mexican Americans, like 64.5% of this Latino population in the United States. And then, again, it's just like, it's crazy that we are such a diverse population, and just, they just can't figure out what to do with us. And what to do with us is to put more executives in positions of power where they're the decision makers, and they're the ones that we're pitching to. Like, I can't tell you how many times I've been on pitches and it's been 100% white. And it's like, it's definitely an uphill battle, but we're, like, thanks to you and the podcast and your efforts and the hustle, and just, we're getting there. It's like, it's a fight for sure. So.
Yeah, we're fighting the fight. We're doing what we can to move the needle, even if it's 1 degree or 98, as the great group 98 Degrees, I really want to talk more about Agent Rodriguez.
Sure.
So could you tell us about his path in the film? What can we expect on April 1st? Well, Agent Rodriguez.
So we show up, I'm without giving too much away, in that Sony Marvel universe. It's Simon Stroud, who is a character from the comic books, and the Marvel universe, and then myself, who's introduced to this group. So me and Tyrese show up, and we're sort of tracking. You see in the previews, this is just like the thing we saw in San Francisco, which is a reference to the Venom movies, because that's where those were set, with Tom Hardy. And so we're actually investigating the FBI unit in charge of investigating all of these superhero, criminals that are out and about. So we're investigating. It's a little bit of like that, if you want to borrow from it's like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. for the Sony Marvel universe.
Wow. Okay, that's great. I'm trying to decode. I'm trying to like.
Are you into all this stuff? Because
I have to be into all this stuff. I am into all this stuff. My family's into all this stuff. I have 2 young boys that are into all this stuff. I gotta be up on the superheroes. So put me on. Help me figure this out. Okay. So, and this ties into my next question. Is there talk of some more Latino superheroes in the Marvel, or I shouldn't say some more, a Latino superhero in the Marvel universe? Let's discuss.
Well, you have Oscar Isaac is playing Moon Knight, and that's coming out. So when you talk about the Marvel universe, you just had, the Eternals, which was very diverse. And so you had Salma Hayek in the Eternals, and you have Oscar Isaac playing Moon Knight. And so again, we're sort of getting there. But when you look at 0.7% of the United States population, we're certainly not 18.7% of the superheroes. So we'll get there. Again, you just want to see a reflection of what you're seeing out in the streets and in the United States. You want little kids growing up to know that they matter by seeing themselves on the front pages of, on the covers of comic books. And then therefore those, comics, you want to see these movies are so popular that you want to be able to see them on screen. So you look at Shang-Chi, which was an amazing movie. It starred my buddy Ronnie Chang from The Daily Show, and Aquafina, who was incredible. And then you see the success there, and hopefully we'll eventually see, the Latinos, Latinx, I'll say it all, Latinas will be on.
It's a long list. If you're going to say all of them, we're going to be here for 15 more minutes, but go ahead, give them the list.
Yeah, whatever you want to do.
We're all inclusive here.
Yes, same. So if, eventually we'll get there, but again, bringing it back to Morbius and Agent Rodriguez, here you have a guy that is from Mexican, American descent, investigating, these crimes. And it's not, this big over the, whatever, you're typically seeing in the past in these movies. His identity is that he's an FBI agent in charge of investigating, these supernatural sort of events, and that's it. And that's what it needs to be. There's Latinos out there with amazing jobs, and we need to highlight some of those people.
Yes, yes, and yes. Okay. I want to know a little bit about your stand-up and if that has changed since you started. Because I feel like you're a different performer since when you started stand-up. I won't blow up how many years ago, but you've
No,
been at
I'll
this
tell
for a
you.
while.
I started stand-up. So I always wanted to do stand-up comedy. And this is good for your listeners to hear, because I
Bring it.
No, it's just like anything. If you got that thing in nagging you that you really feel like is your calling, go out and do it. Because it took me too long. I knew I always wanted to be a stand-up comedian. I love stand-up comedy. And this is a long answer to your question, but here we go. So, and then
Perfect.
it took me, I got yelled at when I told my dad I wanted to be a comic, because I was supposed to take over this family business and it wasn't really considered a real job. And that brings us back to what we were talking about initially, is like, if you don't see the successes, then it seems like this insurmountable, achievement to, all parents want to see their kids be successful. So when you're not seeing, too many, there's only George Lopez and Paul Rodriguez at the time, and he's probably at, when I'm starting this, not even aware of them, maybe just George. And so why are you going to let your kid do something that you haven't seen other people be successful at? So I got yelled at. I stayed in the family business until 1998. And then things just sort of took off because I got cast in a TV show, and then I started acting. So 20 years of stand-up, and I love going all over the country and traveling, and Daily Show was amazing because that put a lot of butts in seats. And it was cool, but I realized when I was developing TV shows and I was talking to people at CBS who have been so nice to me and give me so many opportunities. I have an overall for writing at CBS because I asked to match up with a Latino showrunner, and they said there aren't any. We were hoping that could be you. And so I sacrificed my sort of dream of being just a stand-up comedian to transition to more of show running, writing episodic TV, creating shows. So now I wrote Primos, which is this comic book. And then I'm also acting, which is, I'm so happy for this movie to finally come out. And then I'm also a business owner. I own All Things Comedy, the podcast network. Your podcast.
Oh, I'm getting there. I hope we have time. That is a big question on my question list.
Yeah, and then I've got the CBS overall. It's just to try, and everything I write has 100% Latino, Latina, Latinx, Latinx characters in the mix. And again, we were talking about that diversity. So I've got really a diverse mix. There is. I'm just taking out a big Puerto Rican drama set in Puerto Rico with an all Puerto Rican producers and writers, and really want to find that perfect Puerto Rican director. So and it'll be an all Puerto Rican cast, and hopefully we get to shoot there. So I've got I'm really trying to shift from stand up. But stand-up opened all those doors. Stand-up let me in the door. And then when you have, again, that thing nagging you, then it's going to open up all of these other opportunities. And you just got to sort of be ready to transition. So that's what I did.
I love it. Thank you. That's so inspiring. Al, what was the family business that you had to be a part of that you left? What was it?
It was staffing, which is it's so boring. I was miserable doing it. And it's not, again, you just sort of take these jobs because you need the money, and my parents needed me. I'm the eldest son, but it was staffing. I was hiring and firing people, and I was spending a lot of time.
Oh, damn.
I had to fire a ton of people, and I was just miserable doing it. So again, I found myself just so unhappy. And then when you start doing stand-up and doing something you love, just everything takes off. I always loved acting. I love comedic actors. And then, it all comes together in this movie because stand-up prepared me for, when you're a stand-up or you're a sketch comedy performer. I'm not sure if you guys have ever done any improv, but you need to be quick on your feet. I get to set the first day, and Daniel Espinosa, he goes, so funny. He goes, okay, pulls me aside. And he goes, "You're my baby bird. When I tell you you can fly, you can fly." And so that meant that I was free to improvise. So he did, and that's every comic actor's dream. So all those years in the clubs, the years I spent replying to somebody shouting out and the hecklers and everything like that has me quick on my feet. So I'm able to improvise lines inside of Morbius. Yeah, no, and with a director that understands that I'm capable of doing that. So it was, again, all those years in stand-up prepared me for, thinking quick and, sharpening my wit to be able to handle a situation like this and be unfazed. So, and really even before that, firing people prepared me for stand-up, because I've been in so many stressful situations. Walking up and trying to make a group of people laugh was really no big deal.
Yo, I just think that all those people that you fire, when they see Morbius, they're gonna be like, yo, that's the guy that threw my stress ball and the stapler out the door. It was like, yo, you fired. Don't ever come back here again. But now he's a star.
Yeah, exactly. I hate him. I don't know why I don't like this, but I don't like it. Yeah, I had that happen in stand-up. I was doing stand-up comedy and worlds started to collide, and I looked down in the audience and there were 3 different people I had fired. With their arms crossed, just glaring at me. Yeah. It was crazy.
Whipping tomatoes out of their jacket pocket, throwing them in the air one by one. Okay, I know you got a lot of people to talk to today, but I'd be like a bad podcaster if I didn't ask you about all things comedy. This is a podcast network that you started with the incredibly funny Bill Burr. Please tell us what in the hell made you start this. You have so many great shows on there, guys. Alonzo Bowden's podcast, the Comedy Store podcast, Wrestle Roasts podcast. This is my favorite name. Puck Off. That's like the best.
That's a hockey podcast. We have 60 podcasts. And the Dollop is huge. Tiger Belly with Bobby Lee. We have Bill's podcast. Chad goes, it goes on and on and on and on and on. We just launched a new one called Trailer Park Diaries. And so we did this for all the reasons that we've been talking about today. We wanted to take control of our situation. And comedians and comic actors have so much content to offer. Why shouldn't we be the ones distributing it and producing it? So with my business background and all those years I spent, working and helping other people staff and start their own businesses, it was easy for me to start my own. So, okay, you can still hear me. So anyway, we did it. And we started in 2012. And then we actually, that's crazy to think it's been 10 years, but we are the world's largest comedy podcast network. We are continually ranked amongst the top 10 in US audience. And we're doing a lot of exciting stuff. We're making 3 movies this year.
Wow.
We just sold a TV show. We've produced documentaries. We did the Patrice O'Neill documentary for Paramount. We are just continuing to make stuff and get more opportunities. So Bill is shooting his movie right now. And he's actually that he wrote and directed. And we will just continue to give comedians more of an opportunity to own their own content. Like when you make one of these podcasts, you got people, when you become successful, the advertising and the commissions are just out of control. You got a lot of people trying to take 50% commission. And when have you, I used to staff, when do you hear about anybody taking a 50% commission? That's crazy.
Unheard of.
Yes.
Unheard of.
So 6%, 10%, but it's at least an 80-20 split or something like that, but it's people are trying to take 50 and more. So we decided to
Ay.
take control of that.
Abusadores. Listen, Al Madrigal, I know that there's probably a lot of Al Madrigals on the come up listening to our podcast. Okay. Our podcast, I cannot tell you how many listeners have reached out. They be like, yo, but I didn't know we could like do that on set. I didn't know they let Ricans in the building to do this. Or I didn't know I could be a half Latina, half Italian and, you know, represent for being Latino and change my course of direction in school to do what Al Madrigal is doing.
Take
so
over.
I just want to, you know what I'm saying? But I want to take this next opportunity, this next Q&A for you to drop some advice to those guys. My
okay.
dog is old.
I'm shocked that my dogs have not barked. So it's and actually it makes you, it's like it said, we're not
I'm so embarrassed.
We're no, you shouldn't be embarrassing because we're doing this out of our homes. Like this is like, I'm in my house right now. And the only difference is just, you know, I got two dogs on the other side of this wall. I can't believe they haven't barked yet. So it's no big deal.
Oh my goodness.
Anyway,
I have a viejo. He's a viejito. He's like 12 and he barks anytime FedEx is
an old
around
man
here
as well who's 50. I got a 15-year-old over there and a 10-year-old. Like he doesn't know what he's barking. So,
this is real. Can I bring it back and ask you that question in a clean way so I can get a clean answer? Because this is like, you're inspiring, dude. And people want to hear advice from you. I want to hear advice from you. I would love if we could take this moment for you to tell all those owls, little alcitos on the come up, the ones that are in school now or the ones that have their degree, but, you know, not in what they really want to do, which is maybe write and direct. Quien sabe. But what is some advice that you have for them? Maybe how to maneuver, how to get to where you are or where you're going.
Well, you want to make
some
that
advice.
You want to make that transition from amateur to professional. And just like if you look at athletes, and there's a great book, and I'm borrowing his words because Stephen Pressfield, The War of Art, really breaks all of this down. So buy that book immediately. Stephen Pressfield, The War of Art. And it doesn't matter what you want to start. And he uses the example, if it's a plumbing supply business, you got to go from amateur plumber to owning your own work, owning your own business. We have to go from amateur podcaster to professionally highly paid podcaster. You have to go from amateurs to open mic comedian to headliner. So how do you make that jump? And it's with a lot of work and a lot of encouragement, but it's where talent and hard work meet. Like if you got all the talent, you don't do any of the work, you might get lucky and somebody might find you, but no one's going to hand this to you. So you have to go out and take it. And that means rolling up your sleeves, and everybody's going to have those gigs. Everyone's going to have their staffing business, but you need to, or, you know, I was a busboy. I did everything. I mowed lawns. I did everything you could possibly do to make money on the side. Even when I was doing stand-up and had moved my family down to LA in lean years, I consulted for a .com company called comedy.com in 2000, you know, like I just like whatever it took. And so whatever it takes to get there. But I was working 70 hours a week and doing sketch comedy and stand-up and with a newborn all at the exact same time. And, you know, walking between comedy clubs every single night in San Francisco, and all of that hard work pays off. So roll up your sleeves. No one's going to hand this to you, and get to it and support other people doing the exact same thing. So, you know, don't be one of those people that kicks out the ladder and is like selfish, because we're all these independent contractors. But when we team up, we're so powerful. Make some friends, go out there and get it and work together, collaborate and inspire each other, and make sure you have a clear list of your goals and just go get it. And this goes for all the people like listening, even the people listening on this Zoom, like decide what you want and figure it out, and then just make up your mind to go for it. And every single day is a effort to make that happen. So your dreams can all be realized. You don't think they can't, and don't let any negativity creep in, and just go for it. And, you know, again, I didn't even know any of these opportunities existed when I started as a stand-up. I never dreamt that I could even be an actor. But now I'm an actor in a Morbius movie, like in a Sony Marvel movie. That's insane.
Woo, woo!
Yeah.
So,
again, all of this, whatever you want to do can be realized, and you can go get it. You know, my mom cleaned houses, and now she owns 7 houses, like, because she was so again, you know, my grandparents came to this country with nothing, and again, and look where we are. And so it's just go, 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 and help everybody out you can along the way. Don't be selfish about it. All right,
Thank you so much. You can see him as Agent Rodriguez in Morbius in theaters on April 1st. One time for Al Madrigal, people. Yes, gracias, señor. Y suerte. We're here cheering you on, okay?
I really appreciate it. It means so much, and keep up all the great work. Thank you.
Thank you to everyone who made this possible, by the way. Thank you. Your team is solid.
Appreciate it. Later. Have a great day.